Have you ever trusted someone with everything you had, only to be humiliated in front of everyone? That's exactly how I met my wife's parents for the very first time. The waiter had barely placed the wine glasses on the table when it happened. Dark red wine, expensive, heavy, splashed across my face and down my shirt. For a heartbeat, the entire restaurant froze. Every eye turned to the immaculately dressed woman across from me, my wife's mother. That's to disinfect a poor man. My daughter's monthly expenses are $140,000. Do you really think you can keep up? Her words cut sharper than the sting of alcohol in my eyes. But worse than her insult was my wife's reaction. She didn't defend me. She didn't flinch. She laughed hollow, cruel, a sound I barely recognized as hers. "Oh, Mom, you're terrible," she added, as if it were some private joke between them, a joke too lowly for me to understand. That was the moment something in me broke. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't retaliate with anger. I calmly dabbed my face with a napkin, lifted my head, and locked eyes with her father, Richard Carrington, CEO of one of the largest supply chain corporations on the East Coast. "Mr. Carrington," I said coldly, "I am terminating all business with Carrington Holdings, effective immediately." He blinked in disbelief. I told him plainly, I was the managing director of Hayward Logistics, their primary distributor for the last 6 years. With a few taps on my phone, I sent the termination order to my legal team and operations staff. "Starting tomorrow, your warehouses will be locked, your shipments frozen. Good luck finding another partner at my rates, especially during the holidays." I stood, buttoned my jacket, placed a few bills on the table not for them, but for the server, and walked out. I didn't need to shout. My revenge had already begun the moment I reached the door. The morning sun lit up my penthouse like a spotlight. I hadn't slept much, but not because of heartbreak. I had spent the entire night with my legal team, moving pieces on a chessboard Emily never realized she was standing on. By 7 a.m., my phone buzzed violently on the kitchen counter. Caller ID, Richard Carrington. I let it ring. Then came a flood of texts. "Richard, let's be reasonable. This affects thousands of workers. You don't want to make this personal. We can offer revised contracts, higher rates." I took a slow sip of my black coffee and typed one sentence. "This became personal the moment your wife threw wine in my face and called me poor." 2 seconds later, the phone rang again. This time it was Emily. I answered. "Why are you doing this?" Her voice shook. "Why did you laugh?" I asked coldly. The silence on the other end said everything. Then she snapped. "You embarrassed my family." "No, Emily. Your family embarrassed themselves, and you stood with them. You mocked the man who built the life you flaunt." "It was just a joke. You know how Mom Island. She's toxic, but I expected better from you. I gave up everything to build a future with you, and you repaid me with mockery in front of strangers. We need to talk about this. There's nothing left to discuss. And by the way, your apartment lease ends next week. It's under my name. I canceled it this morning." "What?" Her voice cracked. "I'll send a moving company to help you pack. Consider it my final act of kindness." "Are you kicking me out?" "No, I'm giving you the freedom you wanted so badly at dinner." I hung up without another word. That afternoon, the financial headlines broke the story. Carrington Holdings frozen overnight, scrambling for alternatives as stock prices slipped. And while they panicked, I was already in quiet talks with their biggest rival, Langford Global, offering them premium services at a discount sharp enough to cripple Carrington's empire. 3 days after that dinner, Carrington Holdings was in freefall. Retail clients were pulling contracts, terrified they wouldn't meet holiday demand. Warehouses overflowed, trucks sat idle, and every hour bled millions. Meanwhile, Langford Global, my new partners, announced their strategic alliance with me. The industry knew exactly what that meant. Richard Carrington was finished. But I wasn't done. That Friday morning, a moving truck pulled up outside Emily's luxury condo. Neighbors gathered as movers packed boxes labeled "Property of Mark Ashford." Emily rushed out in silk heels and a designer robe, panic all over her face. "You can't do this! I live here!" she shouted at the driver. "Ma'am, your name's not on the lease," he said flatly. Orders are to clear everything before noon. Flashbulbs lit the street. Someone had tipped off the tabloids, and the crowd was hungry for spectacle. Emily turned and saw me across the street, arms folded, calm as ever. She stormed toward me. "Did you call the press?" "No, but I'm not surprised they came. After all, your mother said you were worth $140,000 a month. Shame you can't even afford a motel now." "Mark, please," she softened her voice. "We've been through so much. Do you remember what you said at dinner? It was a joke. You laughed. And your mother treated me like dirt. Now you'll get to feel exactly what that's like." I handed her a red envelope. She opened it with trembling hands. Inside, a divorce filing, a waiver of spousal support, and a prenuptial enforcement summary, airtight, ironclad, already executed. "You'll hear from my lawyer Monday. And one more thing, don't ever contact me again. You're no longer part of my future." She froze as cameras flashed. That weekend, the Financial Review headline blazed. "From mocked to magnate, how Mark Ashford crushed Carrington Holdings in a week." Comments poured in. Professionals once humiliated by the Carringtons reached out, some to thank me, others to work with me. Emily went silent. Her mother was photographed trying to enter Carrington HQ, only to be turned away by security. And Richard, his own board suspended him, pending investigation. Now tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you let them crawl back and beg, or would you let the whole world watch them fall? 3 weeks passed in silence. The world had moved on from Carrington's collapse, but Emily hadn't. She tried calling, emailing, even sending handwritten letters. I ignored them all. I didn't need closure. I had already built something better. Then came the final card. It was a Thursday morning when my assistant buzzed in. "Mr. Ashford, there's someone here demanding to see you. Says it's urgent." I sighed. "Name?" "She's already inside." I turned just as Emily burst through the door. But this wasn't the confident woman I had once known. Her makeup was smudged, her designer coat wrinkled. She looked desperate. "Mark," she gasped. "Please, just 5 minutes. That's all I ask." "You have 2. I made a mistake. I let my mother control me. I thought I could trade up, find someone who fit her image. But I was wrong." "Was that before or after you emptied my accounts?" I asked flatly. "I didn't know you'd cut ties with the Carringtons. Once you pulled the contract, everything crumbled. Richard's gone. The house is gone. My mother fled to Italy. And me? I've got nothing. So now you want me back?" "I know I don't deserve it, but you were the only one who ever treated me like I mattered. Not for money, not for image, just me." I stared for a long moment, then walked to the sideboard. She followed me with pleading eyes. I set a folder on the table. "This is the best I can offer." She opened it. Inside, a waiver of contact, a restraining order application, and a bill for damages, breach of NDA, property destruction, fraud. "I told you never to contact me again. You had your luxury, your perfect image. You spat on the life we built. And now, I'm giving you exactly what you asked for." Her knees buckled. She collapsed into the chair, trembling. Security stepped in. "Please, Mark, I still love you." "No, Emily. You loved control. You loved money. But love, that's earned. And you threw it away." They escorted her out as she sobbed. The door shut, and silence filled the room. I turned back to my desk. Outside the window, the skyline glowed in the morning Sunday. My phone buzzed. Tokyo investors impressed. "Lunch at 1?" I typed back, "1 is perfect. Let's talk expansion." Emily Carrington now lives in a modest apartment on the edge of the city, working 2 jobs just to survive. The so-called friends who laughed with her that night at dinner vanished the moment the money did. Carrington Holdings filed for bankruptcy. Richard was forced out, his empire in ruins. Her mother slipped quietly overseas, far from the scandal she helped create. And me? I became the CEO of one of the fastest-growing logistics empires in the country. From mocked to magnate in less than a month. So tell me, was this revenge perfectly justified, or did I go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like the story if you felt the justice. Share it with someone who needs the reminder, because in the end, every betrayal carries its shadow, and every lie meets its reckoning.